I'm giving away this championship belt from WWEshop.com once I hit 100,000 subscribers, so go ahead and click subscribe today. Welcome back to the Angle Show. I, of course, am Angle. We got a big one for you. Guys, what is going on with WWE and Money in the Bank? Obviously, WWE really hasn't teased anything with Damian Priest. And if it wasn't for Judgment Day having a heavy presence across the shows, you would not really know that Damian Priest has Money in the Bank because we're not seeing him tease in any cash-ins. Boozer Wrestling was asked about this, and BWE simply came out and said, look, they're going to be doing heavy teasing in December. Why December? WWE doesn't have a main roster pay-per-view for December this year. In fact, the only pay-per-view that they're expected to have is NXT Deadline, which is obviously for NXT. Now, technically speaking, Damian Priest could always try to tease a cash-in on Ilya Dragunov or whoever is champion by then in NXT. And it could make a lot of sense for TV programming when you consider the fact that, you know, there's main roster crossover. But we don't want that. You know, like, we really want Damian Priest to show some teases on Seth Rollins or Nakamura, and maybe that will happen at Fastlane. Who knows? And we can't say that he's going to tease a cash-in on Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns is barely on TV. So the thing is, I'm very shocked that they haven't gone heavy teasing with Damian Priest. But I think for Damian Priest, it's not even so much about cashing in Money in the Bank. I think it's more about the visual. When you look at the Judgment Day and you see Tag Team Championship belts, you see North American Championship belt, you see the Women's World Championship belt, and then you see Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest carrying the briefcase, they do look like a power unit. And I think that's why WWE has them all standing tall with these accessories. I'm calling them accessories because that's kind of what they are at this point for the Judgment Day. Now, with that being said, I think Damian Priest probably more than likely isn't going to cash in successfully. And I think the long-term plan, and I could be wrong here, I'm just guessing, but with some extreme educated guesswork, I think there's so much tension in the Judgment Day, and then they come back together, and then they're close. I think it could make a lot of sense for the Judgment Day to ultimately be the reason why Damian Priest doesn't capture the World Championship belt, and how they go about that could be a really, really good, unique storyline. So I'm excited to see what happens here, but it is interesting that they really haven't done much. If December is the time where they want to start teasing it heavily, I feel like there's going to be something really good to come out of it because it's again, there's no pay-per-view in December, so clearly they got to have some sort of plan there. That brings us to our next topic. I want to talk to you guys about NXT main roster call-ups because BWE is confirming that there are a few that are expected to happen in the near future, and it's a really interesting decision for WWE to go and have main roster call-ups this time of the year, largely due to the fact that WWE is building towards WrestleMania. Now, look, I'm going to be honest here, okay? I don't know if main roster call-ups at this time make a lot of sense. And I'm not trying to, like, be negative or anything like that, but I feel like the Raw after WrestleMania this year was so bad that it would have been the perfect time to have, like, actual, like, main roster call-ups and surprises. And obviously, we all saw what happened with Raw after WrestleMania this year. It was dog shit. And the fact that it was dog shit tells me that maybe you should save the main roster call-ups for either the Royal Rumble or the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania. Especially when you're trying to build the ultimate WrestleMania card. I would love nothing more than the Braun Breakers and the Ilya Dragunovs and the Carmelo Hayes of the world. I would love nothing more than for them to get called up and join the main roster. But I don't want them to get called up and then not have a special part in the WrestleMania card. So maybe I'm wrong for thinking this way, but perhaps just maybe it would be good to do the call-ups after WrestleMania. And then also, too, you know, we got to remember, Ilya Dragunov was expected to get called up earlier this year. Plans changed, and they changed because WWE NXT was absolutely killing it creatively, and now Ilya Dragunov's the NXT champion. So I love NXT. I think NXT has been doing really, really good this year, And honestly, I'm glad to see how it's been growing and getting more popular. And I'm excited to see that more people are giving it a chance. Yeah, maybe they could change some things about the logo or the presentation of it. That would always be a good start for WWE, but it's doing well. And the fact that it's doing well tells me that main roster call-ups don't necessarily need to happen. It's not like there's a void in the WWE product just yet. It's not like the draft didn't just happen months ago. It's not like WWE has not been telling good stories. They have been. So maybe timing is a big part of why NXT call-ups are successful and why they're not. And I feel like, if they're going to do call-ups, save it for the Royal Rumble for surprises. And then, of course, save it for WrestleMania. That's going to be the right way to go about it. And that's kind of just how I feel about it. And then the last thing I want to point out, too, is you just released Mustafa Ali, who is supposed to be North American champion. You got some stories brewing down there. I don't want to see other things get in the way while stories are being told. And so far, everybody has a story being told on NXT, so that is something to also keep in mind. And that brings us to our final story of the day. Boozer Wrestling giving us some very big heat right here. Boozer says there is a 75% chance that Ricky Starks joins the WWE. Now, you're asking me, you're watching this video, and you're asking me, why are you talking about it? Guys, we need to have a conversation about this. Cody Rhodes, B. Priestley, Jade Cargill, Brian Pillman Jr., those are the 4 AEW names that have gone to WWE that were actually part of AEW programming. Not to mention, you have Kiana James and Fallon Henley, who also used to work AEW Dark, and they're in WWE. WWE is scouting from indies. WWE is scouting from AEW. And there is this big belief online that Ricky Starks could be the next one to go to WWE, largely due to the relationship that he has with Cody Rhodes and Jade Cargill. Now, keep in mind, 5 months ago, Dave Meltzer says that WWE will be pursuing key contracts that are up for renewal. And keep in mind, at that time, this was 5 months ago, nobody knew which contracts were coming up at the end of the year. But at the same time, too, there are some rumblings that maybe Ricky Starks is in that boat where his contract comes up. Guys, I love Ricky Starks. I love absolutely everything about Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, initially in AEW, it kind of got me worried that they maybe didn't see something in him. This year, they're showing me that they see something in him. And he's doing some really cool shit in AEW. And I think Ricky Starks is a perfect candidate for WWE. He's a great talker, great performer, great entertainer, another person with great crossover potential. With that being said, I don't want WWE targeting these AEW names if they don't have massive plans for them. Just like I don't want AEW targeting WWE names and not having anything massive for them. So right now, AEW is doing really good with Ricky Starks. I love what they're doing with him. It's making me even more of a fan. And I think, watching him in the NWA, watching him in AEW, I think it was very clear that this guy's going to be a star. And they're showing us why. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this all goes down. And again, I really want to hit this hard, right? I want to make sure you guys know what I'm saying. If they don't have plans for Ricky Starks or any of these AEW talent, do not sign them. And if you're AEW, don't sign these WWE guys if you don't have plans for them. Look at what happened with Miro, Malachi, Andrade. Everything is start and stop. I mean, literally bringing these guys, hit a home run with it. No, hit a grand slam, and people will love it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget, I'm giving away this championship belt, so go ahead and click subscribe.